Hey everybody, it's Mr. Rogers here, and I wanted to take a break from sales a little bit and talk about hypothesis, theories, and laws. And this is an area that I really truly believe that we need to make sure that we understand at a high level because there's so many misinformation that unfortunately you were taught and that it's out there that I just want you to understand what we're using these words for in science. It is not what you think, probably. It's not what you've been told before. And so if I seem like I'm way off base from your seventh grade teacher, I promise you it's probably not because the seventh grade teacher is trying to be mean or evil. They're just wrong sometimes, and that's fine. Okay. So hypothesis, theory, and law. They are levels. They mean nothing really to do with if you should believe them or not. We'll talk about what that means in a second. I don't want you to think like, oh, if it's not a law, it means it's not true. That is far from the truth. Okay. So first, a hypothesis. Hypothesis is educated based on observations. We've worked with hypothesis in this class. Those are if, then, because statements. And usually, hopefully, they become rational explanations of a single event. So eventually, a hypothesis becomes a quick explanation of what one event is like. Just one. Not an overall view of something large, just one event. So I could have a hypothesis how my wife will act if I don't do the dishes, but that is not an acceptable hypothesis for somebody else's household. It's just for my wife and me. That's a single event. It's a single explanation. Now, usually this can be supported or refuted by continued experimentation or observation. Usually we're going to expand upon a hypothesis. If we find out something happens here in Kalkaska, we're going to test it in Mansalona, then we're going to test it in Elk Rapids, and then we're going to test it in Traverse City. So a hypothesis is just one event, and then we're going to take that one event and expand upon it. A theory is what one or more hypotheses become when they become verified and accepted to be true. When in all these different places, it constantly keeps coming up with the same answer. And this idea helps explain a set of related observations or proven events. It's usually a large idea, like the theory of cells. It's still a theory. Cell theory is an idea, or gravity is still a theory. It's a huge idea that covers large areas. And because it covers such large areas, there is some variability there. Like there's less gravity on the moon than there's Earth. There's some change. There's not a set thing. So these are usually large ideas, theories. Cells are a big thing. Every living thing has cells. It's a big theory. And this has also been verified multiple times by separate groups of researchers. Okay. So we've shown this over and over and over again. Most of the time, theories will have multiple different scientists from different fields prove the same thing. So it's not something that is just one group of scientists says, hey, this is how it's going to be. It's a bunch of different scientists. In a law describes a single action, a small, little, tiny thing. And it usually is a mathematical relationship. It usually has something to do with math because math follows the same rules every single time. And the law is accepted to be true, just like our theory is by the scientific community. And it's much less complex compared to a theory. We're talking about one thing, one simple thing. So the overall idea is this. This is the analogy I like to use in the class because if we throw out a hypothesis and we just look at theory and law, what it comes down to is this. A lot of times you will see the word theory and you think to yourselves, it doesn't mean it's completely true. That is not right in science. When science says something is a theory, it has backing and scientific fact behind it. Okay, theory in an English class means like it's a guess, but not in science. Science means it's for sure thing. So I like to always point out the idea of speed limits. Okay, there are theories behind speed limits. We don't want people to go too fast. That's a theory. So we want to manage their speeds. And so the theory of speed, managing your speed is safe, makes you safer, is a good theory. We have observations. We've done experiments about that. We've seen things in person. We've seen things in labs that we want to make sure that people keep a good speed for the right scenarios. A law based on that theory would be you should only or can only drive 25 miles per hour on Dresden Road. right outside the school. That's a law. It's one single action. It's mathematical, 25 miles per hour, and it's accepted by the scientific community. We should drive 25 there. Now, we can't make a law for all speeds. What I mean by that is we can't say every road has to be 25 miles per hour. That makes no sense. And just like we can't tell people there's a theory about speed, that's the law, or that's the rule, is we need to make sure that you drive safely by limiting your speed, because people would choose their own speeds. So a law is about a designated one area. A theory is a large, big idea. Another one we always use in class is the idea of ethics, like stealing. Stealing, should you steal or should you not steal? That's a giant theory. Like there could be situations where it's okay to steal. But as a law, it has to be one specified event. Like, is it okay if I go steal from the bank? No, it's not, obviously. Okay. That's one single event. A theory is a large group of things. It's everything. So when we talk about the cell theory, it's talking about all cells. When I talk about a law, it would only be talking about one specified cell or one specified situation, if that makes sense. So I hope this makes sense. I hope you write this down in your notes. If you need help understanding it, please let me know. I know it's kind of a weird idea. And for a long time, people were always taught that you go from hypothesis to theory to law. No, like cell theory will never be a law. Theory of gravity will never be a law. Theory of evolution will never be a law. That's not how it works in science, because they're not the same thing. It just like anything else, you can't make something else if they can't do that. That's what a theory can't be a law. Very rarely do theories ever transition there because they're not supposed to. So hope that makes sense. If you need any help, let me know. Thank you.